what's up? This is Walter Jones, and I just want to say welcome to A Comic Book Look.
From Riverdale Studios, Sioux Falls, this is A Comic Book Look.
Welcome to A Comic Book Look, you guys. My name's John, aka the Digital Don Juan, comic book Hugh Hefner, so fly, so sexy.
I love that. When did you start doing the Hugh Hefner?
I don't know.
How long? I love it.
Yeah, I think it started in El Paso.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over here, you guys, we got Tom, co-host extraordinaire. Tom and I are co-people, and we're going to talk about equality this evening. This is issue 61, first of all. Hats off to that. Speaking of 61, if you flip that around and add a couple zeros after it, that's how many views we just broke on YouTube.
What
Awesome.
up? But that doesn't even count because we got a whole nother YouTube channel that we're that have thousands on itself. So, but on the comic book look, it's so nice to see that number.
And the subscribers keep going up. People are, really starting to.
Exactly.
We're getting some love mail.
Exactly. So if you have been watching for a while, please send us that mail. We love hearing from you.
Yeah.
And comment.
And we appreciate, especially that letter, Wendell from UK.
Yeah, Wendell. Thanks for watching,
Hats
bro.
off to you.
Of course, man.
That was awesome.
And we will totally get to we'll do an email show with a couple different emails coming up here.
And yours was awesome.
Can't wait to talk about it.
We liked it. So, I'm going to let Tom introduce the show this evening.
Oh, passing the buck. That's okay.
Passing the buck.
That's okay. Well, yeah, you guys, we talk about comic books every week, as you guys know. So,
We do.
recently, it doesn't seem that way. We talk about movies, apparently.
Evidently.
But now we're going to come back, and we're going to get to one of our famous topical shows. Since we talk about anything relating to comics, we've talked about racism. We've talked about a lot of, touchy subjects, which could be, parents, relationships, and so now we're going to talk about another fun one, which is gay, lesbian, the whole culture around, sexuality and the different sexualities that people can have and how it can affect in comics is something that plays out in every single week. There's comics out there that touch on this. Every single person in the world is different in every single way, or, in tons of different ways. And, here at A Comic Book Look, we're open to them all. You got to understand that. And so we love seeing the diversity inside our comic books. And so that's what this is on. This is our Pride show. And we're excited. I mean, October 11th coming up is National Coming Out Day. And so this is in honor of that. And this is our Pride show. So, yeah.
Boom. One thing I did want to cover before we, jump into the actual characters is there was an event actually on October 6th up in the Twin Cities, and that was the Gay Lexicon, which was ironically, and I guess I don't know how I feel about this. The event as a whole I have no problem with. We'll get into that in a second. Yeah. But it's on the same day as the other con. Like, it just seems like that'd be kind of a conflict of interest, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't we do it, any other day? I believe it's actually a 2 or 3 day event. My main concerns about that, and we were talking about this a little
give them the
before
full rundown of what it is and where it's at. And...
it's up in the Twin Cities, and what it focuses on is, creators and other people that contribute to comics or media in general are they gather up there, so it'd be like a convention, I'd imagine. Fortunately, I didn't make it up there, but it sounded really cool. One of my favorite authors actually was up there, but obviously I didn't get to go.
Well, you're conned out, but yeah, Gay Lexicon. I mean, just for that name, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw the flyers for it in the Twin Cities,
yeah.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul.
Yeah.
And he's the same con that's going on this fall con.
Yeah.
And I can see that though, because they're just trying. Maybe you're into the cities and you're going to do both for the day.
I suppose.
But yeah.
Yeah. My main concern about that event though is the press and lack thereof, because the guest list, was kind of, like the whole thing, you know, it's cool that someone's taking the time to put it together, but I wish that it just maybe had a little more oomph in general. And that's not knocking anybody. I'm just saying if this is like a new thing and we're working towards getting it to Austin, that's understandable. But I wish it would have had more buzz because. You know, if you, you know, and I'll keep trying on YouTube or whatever to see, you know, how it went at that point. But you know, I'm hoping that some people do take pictures and such. They do have a Facebook group though,
Sure.
which is helpful. So I just, you know, I'm hoping that maybe next year I'll be able to attend first of all.
Exactly. Well, first of all, you know, they didn't get the coverage.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking for something like a comic book look to cover it, like we did fall, you know, SpringCon, and you know they.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to happen yet, so hopefully that's somebody does put something out that we can check it out. But yeah, Gay Lexicon in the Twin Cities, you know, hopefully we'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Next year.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, bisexuality, you know, all of it all comes together. You know, I mentioned gay, lesbian, I mean, but I want to say, you know, this encompasses, you know, anybody that is, you know, of a different sexuality that the mass media thinks is, you know, different. And you know, I just, you know, this is our show to show that this isn't something that needs to be a big deal. This isn't something that, you know, has to, you know, be pushed in your face. It's a part of everyday life, and I like when it's a part of everyday comics, and there's tons of different areas that's like that. And you know, so I'm just excited to, you know, get into it all. But yeah.
Before we chop it up with the characters too, I did just want to kind of go into the concept of homosexuality, bisexuality, and you know, pertaining issues in comics in general, and our impressions of them as readers. Because there's going to be some people that, you know, obviously aren't comfortable with it, you know, in any way, shape, or form, which is fine. You know your boundaries, right? And you're not throwing bricks through people's cars or nothing like that. It's just it's opinion. I'd rather not. That kind of thing. I personally, for me, it doesnn really bother me, I guess, to be honest with you. God, is this the moment?
Yeah, this is the moment.
Oh, Skylar,
Gotta do it.
The lights are glaring at me. Well, guys, as you know, I'm kind of a special case in many sorts. If you are going to be surprised in the next minute, then you haven't been watching our show very well.
Or you haven't noticed the glasses you're wearing.
Yeah, which are actually Tom's daughters. They fit my fat face for whatever reason. But that's neither here nor... They are. Like, these are huge.
I know. They're adult size. They're Jenna's.
Oh. Okay, I thought they were Mabel's. I was like, how does she...
Mabel only wears her now.
Well, anyways, you guys, I am a gay male. And I read comics, and I drink beer. Sometimes more than these guys, sometimes less, whatever. But does that really change anything? No. And, you know, they've been in the know the whole time, and most of you should have been, too.
I was going to say, if you picked up on the subtleties, you probably did. But, I mean...
You know, the bottom line is this, you guys. In my case, anyways, I'm not, you know, I can't speak on all the people that, you know, are gay or whatever out there that read comics, but in my case, I love what I do here and in my other job too, but with here I really just hone what I'm good at and I go after it. You know, I do my interviews, I put my work in. We all put so much work into the show, and it's just so cool to be a part of a team where we're all like seriously hauling ass every single week to make this happen. And with comics, that's the same thing. You guys have no idea how much I read on a daily basis. Like, I have my weekly stack. I got people borrowing me stuff at work like, oh, my dad had this. You should check it out. I got a brick coming from my comic shop. I still got a short box of 25-cent comics I got to go through. Like, it's nonstop. Tom borrows me trades. I still have, like, 4 Star Wars trades I have to read. Like,
it's hard work.
It's nonstop. I have to read my stuff for the interviews.
Well, we're comic book journalists.
And that's what I love, though. It's just the nonstop flow of information on there. But the bottom line is that, you know, to me, it's just not, it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
And and that's how I feel about the characters, too, you know? Like, they are, you know, who they are. It's interesting, and we'll kind of get into it as we get into the characters here as to if it's more of a cash cow, maybe, for some of the comic lines, or if it, you know, how effective is it, and the quality of it, and so forth, you know, and we'll get into that.
Totally.
So.
But yeah, I think you're right in that it's not a big deal, and as in, you know, you're my friend, I would never think of it any other way, and I needed we needed a partner to do a comic book look, and we make the best duo ever, obviously. And so it's just so fun that right away we're obviously great friends, outside of a comic book look. And, this is our thing that we get to see each other at least once a week.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
Awesome.
It, makes you hang out with, your good friends, which is really nice.
We will be friends.
And so, but since the beginning, it has never, we've never worried about it, because does that need to be a part of, our show, that it has to be something different or special, or we need to point out? No, of course not, because
it's not that big of a deal.
we love comic books, and it makes no fucking difference, And so it's super fun, though, that there are diversity, that we don't stick to the same thing and the same thing. And it's fun to read other comics that are all different things. So John's constantly getting plugged into comics, and, that's just a part of his life. And being gay has nothing to do with that. That's just a part of his life. But then when you get to see, something that is, something relatable for anything, sexuality included, it makes reading funner. Or more fun. Yeah. And I think that's where the great characters come into play.
Yeah.
And great characters, because there are great characters where their sexuality has nothing to do with it. Just they're great characters.
Exactly.
And yeah, so definitely.
And before we get into it too, the final thing I did want to note, just for the concept as a whole, is that I like that the industry as a whole is showing how things are going out there. It's not always oh, I'm gay and everybody loves you. Sometimes there will be rejection or doubt or hurt or this or that or next thing, but these characters deal with, real life situations, which I can appreciate. You know?
Totally.
I think anybody really could, at some level or another.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but we have quite a list to go through there, and we'll kind of talk about those characters, chop them up a little bit.
Yeah, and totally. And before we just talk about characters, I just want to, say that, we keep on saying before we talk about characters, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. But, I want to say that, as a whole, the characters, that's not what matters at all. Just having diversity in comics, having something for everything out there, not being judgmental, having an open mind. I think that's what comics and books is all about.
Yeah, we've said that
time
and time again.
Even you may have been the person in that Midwest, town who, you were the only gay person, and you couldn't tell anybody, and you just felt like, who could you tell? But you read comics, and you understood what the X-Men was going on, and that happens to so many other people, where that's also happens to so many other people who are just maybe too geeky and don't have a lot of friends, and they read the same exact things, and they get that same feeling of, am I the only person like me? And then it comes to a point in your life where you really realize, of course not. And I love how we can get to that point and have great topics about it. And I just want to say that, doing a show like this on a comic book look, it is super fun. And to talk about something that, you in this giant, strict Christian Republican world, it's still arguable. Gay marriage is something that's bad. It's so unreal to me. It would be the same thing as thinking just the same thing with racism. It's we are flabbergasted that that's how, African Americans used to be treated and Native Americans used to be treated. And we are still, in a lot of ways, the pop culture is treating, people with different sexualities that way. And it's, obviously, I love that the geek culture is open-minded, that doesn't happen, and we get a whole bunch of good cases of, great diversity in our comics.
Totally. And it's funny, too, all those issues you just named have all been in comics. Remember that one time I read an issue of X-Men and the N-Bomb dropped, and I was like, oh my god, Tommy, never look at what I just read. Seriously, guys, it's just so interesting to kind of read. I've been reading a lot of the older stuff lately, too, and it's just so fun. It's going back in time a little bit through these people that we know through the comic books. So, yeah, it really is. It is. Again, it's an effective storytelling medium. We've been saying that since day one.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that you said that. Oh. But anyway, before we get into those characters, once again, we're going to leave you hanging. Welcome, comic book lookers. My name is Tom, and I'm here with my segment, Used Bookstore Books. Alright, you guys know that I love getting things at a deal. You've seen my library stack. You've seen how awesome it is to go to a library and get free comics. Well, you know what's even better? Keeping those comics forever, but paying near to nothing with them. So what I do is I go to my local used record store, which is called Last Stop CD Shop, and they sell all sorts of used stuff. And they moved into this giant place with that used to be an antique mall, but now it's all to theirs, and they started selling books. So people drop off comic books. How awesome is that? And they have a simple rule: they never sell a book over $8. So yeah, score. Went recently, and I picked up a few awesome ones. So first I got, as you saw, Dick Tracy. I mean, this is the 1931 to 1951 complete Dick Tracy comic strip. Some are black and white. You have some that are color. You get the rundown. It's just so cool. It smells so great. But how huge is this book, and how awesome is it? And I paid $8 for it. $8. That's it. I mean, are you kidding me? Get real. Next, I got, everybody knows that Raphael Grandpa's art is some of the best around, and I've only known from the little snippets that I've seen, the sketches that he's done. I've never actually had a Raphael Grandpa book, and they had one. I haven't read any of this stuff yet, so I can't tell you, but how awesome is this? So this book is normally only $9.99, right? Guess what? $4.99. That's all I paid for this. That's the same price as a shitty Marvel book. Yeah, you take it when you get it. So yeah, how awesome is this art? Extremely awesome. There's so many cool places, and his art is so unique and stylized. It's almost like Frank Quietly-esque, except more stylized and cooler and more detail. But yeah, so awesome. Next, look at this hardcover that we got here. This is originally $19.99 from Archaea, and we got it. Mr. Murder is Dead. Mr. Murder is Dead. I have no idea what this book is about. I know nothing about it. All I did was see this awesome hardcover, flipped into it, saw this really cool cartoony look. They also flip into some like 4-color panel stuff, like right here. I just really like it. Okay, so I'm getting it. Am I paying $20 for it like the guy who bought this is? No, paying $8. So check it, people. Get to your used bookstore. There's not just books, they got comics. Man, whoever did that segment is really good looking.
What?
Oh, that was me. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, but anyway, guys, so we're back. Check out.
there's a condition for loving yourself, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know, but I got it. I was a first child, so you know, my mom and dad and grandpa always told me that I was so cool. I just believed it my whole life. Okay, so now let's go into what makes us happy when we see you know, awesome characters that are gay or lesbian or bisexual.
Yeah.
And let's talk about either some really cool moments that where it's hit us in a comic and it was awesome, or some really cool characters that we think should fit into this show perfectly.
Yeah.
You want to go first, big boy?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of save some of the creme brulees for last. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, actually.
Well, one, right off the bat, you guys, I was reading the comics today thinking about the show, Avengers Academy number 38. From Wolverine and the X-Men School, you have a character called a Knoll, who is Green Reptilian, and he goes to the character, god damn it, what's his name? I suck at this. Stryker. Sorry, but if you guys know how many people are in this book,
Exactly.
you start to lose track a little bit. So Stryker is the guy that came out in Avengers Academy, and Anola is the gay. But he goes, let me guess, you're the only gay kid in class. And I was like, oh my god, like it's in like every book I'm reading right now. Like, between Cyclops and this, it's insane. But in all seriousness, you guys, like it's just one of those things. Like it's cool to see one on the X-Men side, Wolverine School, and then there's one in Avengers Academy, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's, no, but in all seriousness, that's kind of interesting to watch him cope with that a little bit, because he was trying to be the ladies' man for the longest time and just so obsessed with himself. I'm God's,
Yep.
greatest thing on earth, etc. The other one that I did
And actually, I just want to say, I didn't know Noel was gay. That's actually cool.
yeah.
I've seen him. I mean, I've read about him forever.
Yeah, no, he is. He is green with envy. The other one of note in here is actually Lightspeed. And Lightspeed is Julie from Power Pack.
Oh, nice.
So, Julie is actually kind of a neat character. We talked about how I met like the original Black Ranger, who's Walter Jones. He happens to be African American. Was there a connection with that? Julie's power is she flies really fast with a rainbow flying behind her. So it's just you have to start to wonder a little bit, but honestly, I doubt it, just because the nature of Power Pack is they can switch suits and they can switch powers, so I'm sure that has absolutely nothing to do with it. But I kind of joke about it a little bit, just because it's just it's neither here nor there.
But that's awesome, yeah. And that cover for Avengers
Isn't that
Academy
great?
is so good, so old school,
awesome.
and just making
It's
fun
a
of Avengers
fun
versus
issue.
X-Men too, because
Yeah.
it says, what does it say?
Avengers versus X Kids in a flag
Avengers versus X Kids.
in a flag football game. So it was a really good issue, actually. Like, it was cool to see them interact, and I was totally a big fan of that. So that was my one that hit me in the face today when I was reading it.
Yeah,
That was
dude, totally.
awesome.
My favorite character that fits into this is totally Batwoman.
Oh.
This is where 52, where Batwoman begins. But the current Batwoman is like such a strong character. They've dealt with her being in the military. They dealt with her dealing with Batman, with her father, with her girlfriend, with being in a relationship, and at the same time as being Batwoman and having it. And it's done with such great grace of art by J.H. Williams, as you guys have all
Covers are
seen.
so awesome.
But the original thing when it was so good was when it was really Greg Rucka really took hold of this, and him and J.H. Williams did the legendary run that came in Detective Comics for Batwoman, and that's when she just became a character that's going to, really last a long time, and someone's going to remember. And she is such the case for, like, the strong, lesbian, but that's such a second tier of her, who she is. I mean, that's not, that's like, they don't make the book to be, this is a lesbian book,
Yeah.
It's like they make this book to be amazing for anybody, and that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And that's what Greg Rucka did, and it's continued on with what they've been doing now. And so, I've just really loved it. Another one I want to talk about is the open sexualities. Is, we talk about gay and lesbian. What about bestiality?
And crystallization.
And crystallization sexuals. I mean, if
Like
you
a
like to have sex
vegisexual.
with... Yeah, that's what I call it.
Yeah, that too.
But anyway,
Speaking of open minds,
this is obviously a satire for the same kind of thing,
so
though.
awesome.
But is so absurd. But so check it out again. We're giving it the throw any chance we
Sam
get.
Humphrey, get on our show.
Sam
Oh.
Humphrey's in the house. But
Oh.
he's kicking it now, dude. He at one point he was sending us free comics by email.
Yeah.
Now he's
Kicking ass.
like one of the most top
He still
rising
needs to come on
star.
our show, though, dude.
Yeah, he will have to be on our show. But he's like the biggest star in comics. He's writing 2 Marvel comics ongoing, and he has he has the Higher Earth that I read, and he has the Fanboys versus Zombies, and
Yeah.
he's dominating.
Rocking it.
But yeah, he's not gay, but he's still awesome.
It's awesome.
You don't have to be gay to be awesome. I mean, I'm not gay, but I'm pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as cool as
me,
John,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But let's go into the next one that's super fun that I like to see. How about, what do you think of Wiccan and Hulkling?
That's an interesting pairing. It's fun to, Hulk is such a masculine symbol. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hulk smash, eat steak, watch game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think of when I think of the Hulk. But then you have the Hulkling, which is this slender, toned, teeny version of the Hulk. Not Scar.
He's
but
not
Hulkling.
teeny. I mean,
Well,
the
no.
dude is still a Hulk. He's still
But
big.
but he's
not.
right.
Yeah.
The ability to shapeshift and so forth. Just a very interesting twist on the character. I don't know him that well, you guys, to be honest. I've read a few issues, but nothing too substantial. Wiccan, same thing. Interesting character. Because weren't they involved with, like, the search for the Scarlet Witch or something?
Exactly.
at
Yeah,
one point?
and then they have the Wiccan and the other kid that look like the Quicksilver. Or they sons of on the Scarlet Witch, and
Yeah.
you know that was a whole thing. But I think that during that whole time, there's so many cool things going on.
Yeah.
The artist, they kept the same artist, and it looks so good. I can't remember his name, but he's awesome. And they made Wiccan and Hulkling this really cool couple that just happened to be, you know, a part. You know, the Wiccan's the leader of the Young Avengers, and you know, it really plays into, you know, how Marvel is not afraid to. We talk shit about Marvel, but Marvel is not afraid to, you know, put, you know, the leader of their team as being, you know, being gay, and you know, why should that matter? Of course it doesn't, and I love that. You know, you could think, oh, with Disney, you know, owning them, they have to go through market research. You know, is this okay? You know, this happened before, and it's just awesome that they're gonna, you know, stick to their guns and not worry about that kind of thing. And then we get this awesome relationship between Wiccan and Hulkling, where they're always looking out for each other. There's always worried about each other, and it really makes for good comic book and good character building.
I you know, and maybe I'll get around to reading them. You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
we can find some of those issues pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of them.
Okay.
So, but yeah, how about what else do you want to talk about?
Well, I will kind of delve into the, you know, the X Factory as of late, and
Yeah.
X Force earlier, New Mutants a little bit before that. But Shatterstar and Richter is still a combo that I'm kind of still trying to get used to,
Oh,
for lack of
really?
a better term. And the reason why I say that is Shatterstar is, to me, he'll still be so focused on combat. I learned this in Mojo World, and I have my swords and I kick a lot of ass, because that's what I grew up on in the '90s when I reviewed my books. As I read the old ones, same thing. Like, he doesn't have a lot of love, I guess, in that, you know, like, I'm not convinced if he'd be good in the sack or not, is the bottom line. Same thing with Richter, too. I mean, he's very angry at Cable. He's very passionate when he uses his power to make everything go earthquakey and stuff like that, but he's just an angry character. So when you put those two in a room and you're like, light a candle, put some flowers on there, and they're going to hit it off, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? That's just, you know,
Yeah.
me growing up with them. Like, I totally didn't see that coming when I saw that in X Factor. You know, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You know, and I kept reading, and we saw some of that funny stuff with, like, Wolfsbane, and,
Yep.
you know, just, oh my goodness. Like, that book is
that your
it's
baby?
still pretty good. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
enjoy
first
it.
of all, X Factor does a great job
Yeah.
of. It is the best
X-
character
I like it
driven.
right now, yeah.
Well, I like New Mutants, but you know,
That's not
Cypher.
X, that was the end title.
Okay, but anyway, I
New
like.
Mutants is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think X Factor, they've let you know, them do whatever they want, and it's just been so awesome to be able to play with these characters. It's the greatest character study of any Marvel comic book that's ongoing. It's all about the characters. Things are happening, but I mean, it's more about emotions and relationships and different things, and it's really plays fun. And I mean, Maddox, and I mean, it's a great book, and I think that when I read Shatterstar back in the day, he was a shit character.
You said that with his headpiece.
You know,
That one
just always
expression.
doing the dumbest shit ever, and it's just like such a terrible character. Where then you put it in, why can't I think of the writer's name? That is unbelievable that I can't think of X Factor's writer's name right now. Had a few beers, anyway.
I'm spacing.
I'm just gonna forget about it,
Well,
and
I don't know.
yeah, he has done such a great job of bringing Shatterstar, of being a shitty character that I don't care about, to being someone that actually has emotions and personality and is much bigger than what he was before. So
Yeah.
love that. I love that duo.
And they've been playing it down a little bit too recently, so it's not as prominent as it was at one point. But of course, I'll probably still rock with the book because I love it. So
Totally. How about for bisexuality? I want to talk about Dupe. You guys read that new Wolverine and the X-Men one shot with Mike Allred on it's about Dupe from X-Static, the awesomest character. He just is getting drunk. He's basically like what's the guy from the Ghostbusters? Slimer. He's like Slimer.
Yeah.
And except he doesn't slime really. He's Dupe, and in the book he just is like a sex maniac, and he's, you know, hooking up with all these different people. But at one point he hooks up with like this old dude, and then the very next panel he hooks up with this chick because who knows if he's a guy or a girl or not? Nobody knows.
Exactly.
And I just thought that was really funny and
That
awesome.
whole issue is, it's funny because you see him in previous issues just sleeping at the front desk, you know, and I always wondered who that was, you know.
Yeah,
So
dude, I
that's-
love Ecstatic, so that's great. But yeah, I also want to say the question. There's the original question, but then when Greg Rucka, Greg Rucka just loves to write lesbians, is what it comes down to. He did Batwoman and the question, and he made Renee Montoya, the Gotham Police Department police officer, into the question, and she's dealing with her relationships and things like that, and it was always really well. So you guys should definitely go check those out if you can.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I haven't read them.
Well, yeah.
Right on. Well, I had a hanking for these last two for my part of it.
Yeah, no, I think this should be the last two that we talk about.
Like, I
because
almost want to play the Titanic theme song when we talk
because
about
I
one
mean,
of them.
when this happened,
It's so intense.
John made me read the book. We were working together at the time, and John made me. He was like, "You have to read this book and tell me what you think." I wasn't reading it,
Yeah.
and when it happened, I was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Really? Awesome, I guess."
Yeah,
And so go with
exactly.
it. What are we talking about, bro?
Dark Avengers. I love Dark Avengers, and Dark Avengers has a lot of love. As a team, we have some bonding exercises. and one of
Explain that
those-
this is not the current Dark Avengers.
No, it's the awesome run of it. Just so that we're clear.
Awesome run, yeah,
So
something like that.
What better atmosphere? I mean, you're in like what the city of Asgard, right?
Yeah,
Kind of.
Mhm.
And
because it came down to
Yeah.
whatever Oklahoma.
right? So you're in the city, and you're getting your ass kicked, and you happen to be Wolverine's son, who plays both sides of the field, and you're totally mouthing off to Bullseye dressed up as Hawkeye. I mean, who better to hit on than an archer, right? Getting all hot from that battle, and he goes up to him and kisses him right in mid-sentence, and it's just this awesome scene, and I was just cracking up because you could see Bullseye's expression like, what? And then it was just like, I'm gonna kill you or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he was just like not crazy about it at all.
But he didn't pull away or do
Right.
anything exact.
And Daken as a character, throughout his book, he's getting it in.
Yeah.
He's really playing both sides of the field. There's always someone,
totally.
guy or girl, leaving the room, getting their clothes on or whatever, and he's just the man with the plan. I mean, whoever thought I should really get a tribal tattoo and just do a mohawk? Fuck this.
Dude, but Daken, he is interesting. Marjorie Liu is the person that brought this all on, and I just
Such a
think they
cool
just played
character,
with his
huh?
sexuality so much. And when
Yeah.
that happened, I loved it because it wasn't out there. They didn't tell people months ahead, oh, watch out for this, or anything like that.
Yeah.
They just threw it out there. Daken is screwing everybody in the Dark Avengers. All of a sudden, he kisses Bullseye.
Mhm.
And then you're like, what? And then after that, it follows some different things that lead into, obviously, he's bisexual. And it's,
Yeah.
That's so cool that you have
So
um,
badass, dude.
Wolverine's son be bisexual, because why not? I mean,
Exactly.
he's the kind of guy who just lives by the seat of his pants. He doesn't care.
Exactly.
And so, the way that, DC does Earth 2, Green Lantern, Alan Scott, they have to make press releases. They got to tell people, months in advance. They got to be like, watch out, who's going to be gay? Who in the group, which one of the Justice League is gay? It's like, fucking, are you serious? Are you going to really do that? I mean, just put it in the book if that's what you want to have a part of the book. James Robbins can handle it. He's a great writer.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to have all this nonsense ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that with Daken at all.
No.
They just popped it in,
Let him be
and
badass.
it really was a shock moment that I was like, I should have saw that coming though, because it made perfect sense and it worked for the character, and I just thought that was one of my favorite times of seeing open sexuality in comics and not caring, people not caring about it. So, but yeah.
Well, the big kahuna I have here, I'm kind of mixed about you guys, and we're talking about my ultra 5-star favorite character ever. Someone that is just so cool to me, North Star from Alpha Flight, you guys. I'm somewhat of an expert, in case you didn't know, because I have everything.
You
that
like
he's
Alpha Flight?
And
Oh, I didn't know that.
no, in all seriousness, I've read pretty much everything. Whenever I see a new cameo, like I just ordered a new brick from my comic shop. There's some more stuff coming, some specials or whatever, But I love the character, love him. What I was iffy about, and I'm gonna run this by you, was the Astonishing X-Men wedding and how they blew it up. And I believe it was issue 51 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up the one beforehand and then that one, and while it was cool to see members of Alpha Flight in the background, the story itself left a lot to be desired.
Really?
And so, right off the bat, it's kind of like, oh, I also didn't know how I felt about them hyping it up as much as it did. Because they had, the wedding invite, I still have that in my bag. The freebie flyers that they do sometimes,
I got that
they
as
had
well.
that. It's great that they're doing it, but my rule, and my rule here, you guys, you can do it as long as you do it right. And I wasn't as crazy about the story. Like, I finished it, and I'm like, okay, hopping off that series. So,
Yeah.
It was kind of a disappointment.
That sucks.
For me.
How do you feel as being gay and, being, in the trenches, so to speak?
The trenches.
I mean, when DC or Marvel have to hype something to be some big thing because a character is gay, does that affect you, or do you feel like, it's just another stupid thing that the big two do?
I go home, do my nails, and purge on junk food every time it happens. No, it's just like, it really is just, it's the new two being stupid.
Yeah.
About it, ultimately. So it really doesn't at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure I get more mad about actual events and crossovers than I do about that.
I'm going to say I guarantee that.
Yeah. So.
The fuck? Thunderbolt's back in time. Who cares about this?
Yeah. Get the ball cutters out of the trunk. I don't know. But in all seriousness, like, it totally doesn't bother me at all. Some people might be crying out there about it, but I don't, that doesn't bother me at all. It just wasn't done right. I don't hate anyone. I'll have, drinks with the writers and artists or whatever. You can buy me a beer, though, on that one.
Oh, yeah, man. But, yeah. Well, yeah, so don't check out that wedding.
Yeah, be glad you weren't invited if you didn't attend.
Nice. But, yeah, also, recently, Grant Morrison in interview with Playboy said that he feels that it's very obvious that Batman is a gay character.
Yeah, he is.
So, if we're going with Batman's gay, who else is gay? Cyclops?
Yeah.
Yeah. Robin?
Nutless Cyclops. Yeah.
Robin's definitely.
Robin, Boy Wonder, come on.
Come on. Really, Nightwing?
Yeah.
Let's get it together. We all know, like that storyline's coming in like 5 years.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I can't wait till that comes.
Exactly.
Batman, like obviously, stop, just like October 11th, just do it, bro. It's coming out day, and why not?
He's been hanging around with Alfred alone in that
Albert.
mansion for too long.
You would think Benny's back with Skylar calling Alfred Albert.
Well, Benny was holding cue cards up, a few episodes ago.
Yeah, but then Skylar beat him up.
Back to Mexico.
I told him to. But anyway, all right. Well, hey guys, this is our Pride show. Thank you so much for watching again. It's so fun, and I hope you enjoyed our show. John, you want to lead us out of here?
Absolutely.
Tell the people where to find us.
Yes, exactly. Send us some love mail and some hate mail, whatever you got, at acomicbooklook@gmail.com, all one word. You guys know the drill. Twitter us. Twitter the heck out of us. @ a comic book look, all one word. Standard operating. Otherwise, just check us out on YouTube if you're not already.
Exactly.
When you're watching the show. InveteranceMediaJunkies.com.
Every Tuesday night.
Boom. Tom's also doing some capsule reviews, putting in his work, and they're actually really cool. He reviewed Happy, which I read, and we're going to go toe-to-toe on that maybe coming up here, so it'll be amazing. And
this week I'm reviewing a bunch of books I don't normally read. I'm reviewing like Action Comics, World's Finest, a bunch of books that I would normally read. So yeah, check it out, guys. It'll already be out by the time this airs. So yeah, Capsule Reviews, that comes out every Sunday. Yeah. Me, Ian, Jose, W.D. Prescott, all from Inveterate Media Junkies put those out. So yeah. And John also is constantly talking to sick-ass creators, doing a comic book look after hours. He's gonna, me, Skylar will sit on shows sometimes, but John's putting in the extra effort, giving you guys the one-on-ones with the creators who are in the next 3 years going to be the big breakout stars. So these are the ones you really want to check out. You find them early, and it's really fun.
Absolutely. Well, you guys know the drill as always. Keep it fabulous and keep it comics.